First, we will create a Photoshop file, poster file. So first I want to find the correct size, and I'm going to go to Film and Video and use the HDV HDTV 720p, but I'm going to have the background be transparent. I am not going to open this in the Motion workspace. I am going to use the Essentials workspace. I'm going to double click my hand tool to make it as big as it can be so I can see what I'm doing. You notice that I have the thirds set up so that I can make sure that the placement of the objects is going to be pleasing. And now I want to open up the files that I'm going to be putting into the poster, because I need to have the files available so I can copy them as layers. So I've given you some practice files, and I think the one that will be the easiest to work with will be the crow. So I went ahead and I cut out the crow. The original image has him in front of just, a very busy background. So that's in here as well if you want to look at that. Here it is. And we want to put him in front of something, another background. So I've got the crow. And then I'm going to open up the background that I want to use for the crow. And that would be a background that has a cornfield. I also created a fence post that I thought would be good to put the crow on, so I called it fence post. And there that is. So I want to have the layers of the background first, so I'm going to duplicate this. First I will rename it layer 0 here so that it's not going to be locked, and I'm going to call it cornfield. Then I'm going to right click on it and duplicate that layer into my unnamed, untitled file and say OK. It's much larger than the size we're using, so we're going to have to resize it, but first I'm copying things in. Next, I want to have the fence post, because the fence post will be what the crow is sitting on. And you can see that I have actually the original file with a mask on it. So I'm going to change this name to fence post so I can see what it is. Then I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to duplicate this also into the untitled file. And then I will go back to the crow, and I've already got him, as you can see, he's nicely masked off, and I will duplicate him on the top layer, and I will call it crow. And now I'll go into here, and I will save this as File, Save As, Crow in Field. And you will name it to whatever it is going to be in your final, of course. But since we're going to be opening this as a poster in After Effects, that is going to be the file that has the most important name. Now I'm going to change the sizes on this, and in order to do that I'm going to have to zoom way out. So I'm going to go Command negative, 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 until I can see where everything is. Let's start with the cornfield. And let us see, it's huge. So I'm going to Command negative again. There's the bottom corner. I'm going to hold down Shift and drag it up until I get it in a good sort of size here. Let's see. And I want to make sure that the horizon line can line up with one of the guides. And I'll say, okay, that's good. And I need to rotate it a little bit to get that to be in the right place. So that's why I have the move tool set up with the handles, and now I can drag it a little bit to get the background in a place where I can see what's happening and also be able to use it nicely. So there, that's pretty good. I like that. Okay, now I'm going to get the fence post. The fence post is also enormous. So we're down on the fence post now. Command negative, command negative, command negative, and it's very big because the fence post is actually such a small part. You can make it much smaller if you want to. And I think a little bit lower because we're going to put the crow on top of it. So let's put it so we can see the top edge and say OK. Command plus, command plus, command plus. And turn off the eyeball for the crow. Can we see? There's the fence post. So we want the fence post to be where the crow can sit on it. And we want him to sit on it so that he lines up nicely with one of these lines. And I think I want him to line up on this side. So we'll put the fence post so it's against this and probably on the inside of the edge of it. There we go. So that's going to line up nicely. Now we're going to go to the crow. And the crow, once again, the crow is enormous. So we will make him small enough to fit on the fence post. Now I can see more of him here, so I'm going to drag him down and make him small enough to fit on the fence post. And I think he needs to be behind the fence post so that his tail goes behind the fence post, but at the same time I want his legs in front. So maybe if I just put him like this. There we go, and we can paint in some black behind the fence post. So I'm going to put in another layer behind the fence post and just paint in some black so I can pretend that that's the rest of his tail. So here's fence post, here's layer 2. I'm going to call this tail. I'm going to zoom in once again, and then I'm just going to get my paintbrush, make sure it's black. Make sure I'm on the tail layer, and then just put a nice black tail here so it just kind of blends in with everything else. There we go. So that's good enough. And now I'm going to command save, and I'm going to say this is the beginning of the file. I need to have the word caw at the top, so I'm going to get the text tool. I'm going to get a good kind of text. Let's see, let's put it about here, and right now it's Koshan, which I don't want. I think I want it to be one of the more interesting, heavy sort of fonts. Bedoni, and make it bold. We'll just say car. So there we have a nice piece of text, and it's a good size. Got it about 90, I think, yeah, 90 bold Bedoni. So there he's saying caw. We can make it bigger or smaller, whatever we want, but I think we need to have caw somewhere where it looks good. This looks like a good spot. Okay, so file, save. Now we can go ahead and import this into After Effects. So I will quit Photoshop, and let's say save changes, save, and we'll just save everything and say save whatever. And now we're going to make an After Effects file. So when we make an After Effects file, we have to use the required folder structure. So double click on your zip, and here it is, and we're going to rename this Practice crow. And you don't need to save this. I'm just doing this to get you used to it. So here's practice crow, and we will save that into here. We will also organize all of our practice files. So I'm going to say practice files, open it up, and in the practice it's going to be the projects file, but in the layered PSD it's going to be the crow in field, right? Then we want to make sure that we have all the sounds we need in the audio. So let's go to audio, and we want to get caw in there. So there's a crow 05, that's the caw, okay? And then we don't really need to bring in any of the other files, except I just want to make sure that I have them. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to arrange by, and I'm going to arrange by application. Okay, so now I've got all of my flat files are here. See, they're all JPEGs. My sound file is here, and then these are the PSD files. So in order to make sure that I have everything that I might need at any time, I'm just going to go ahead and move them all into the correct folder. So there's my audio. These are my layered PSD files. So I bring them over the layered PSD files. And then these are all my flat files. So now I have no project yet, no video, but I have audio, I have the layered files, I have the flat images, and there's no provided files right now. So now everything is in my folders as it should be, and I will go ahead and I will save my project file into the projects folder. So I'm going to open up After Effects. I'm going to go New Project. I'm going to say Composition, New Composition. I'm going to call this Composition Practice Crow. Make sure that it is the preset for HDV HDTV 720 29.97, and that gives you the correct width 1280, correct height 720, and we want to make sure the aspect ratio is 16:9. You don't have to lock it. If you want, you can, but don't worry about it. Frame rate is 29.97, and we've got 5 seconds here duration, so check to make sure it's 5 seconds duration, because that's what we want right now. And I'm going to say OK. So here's my Practice Crow composition, and I really didn't need to do that, but and I'll probably delete it, but I just wanted to make sure that you knew what the size was going to be. Now I'm going to File, Save As. I'm going to make sure it goes into the correct folder. Here, Practice Crow, there it is. And I'm going to put it in here and I'm going to call it Practicing Onomatopoeia. So now I'm going to right click. This is how you import your file. You import your file and you go to the folder where you left it. I'm going to go to my layered PSD and I'm going to find my crow in field. Okay? I'm going to import this as a composition, retain layer sizes, and say open. It will give you a chance to change that if you want to, but everything's fine. Okay. So now, Practice Crow, I'm not even using. I was just checking to make sure you knew how to start a new comp, so I'm going to throw that away. But crow in field is there. Now we want to import a file. We want to import the audio. So I'm going to go to the audio folder and import crow. And there it is. So here is the file, and it shows you that all the layers are there, and it shows that the layer sizes are intact. So you can change anything you want to here. You can pan and zoom and do whatever, because it's all still available to you. I'm going to take the crow sound and drag it down here, and that is how you put your sound in. This sound is only about 2 seconds long, so I want it to happen after the crow's been sitting for a bit. And now I'm going to show you, if you press LL, you can see where the sound occurs. So you can actually see the sound as it's happening while the animation is running. And if you want to listen to it, you can press the space bar and it will play. Now I'm going to right-click on the first layer that says caw. I'm going to the word create and convert to editable text. And now it is text. And I'm going to now duplicate this. If I select it and press Command D, Command D, Command D, because we know we have 4 of them, right? So I can have each of these in a different place, and I can make them appear at different times. So let's say I have the first caw goes here. Maybe it lasts the whole time. So we'll have each caw. Since that's number 4, let's make it number 4. That's number 4. This one's number 3. This one's number 2. And this is the first caw. Okay, so there they are. And now we can move them to different locations. So let's go ahead and line us up to where we can see all of them. And I want number 4 to be visible last, so I'm going to move it down to the bottom of the hierarchy. So let's say I just move them all by the same amount below each other. So let's take the first one, and using Shift and the arrow, I'm going to move it down. The next one, Shift and the arrow, move it down until it's just above that one. And then the next one, move that down to where it's just above that one. And now I'm going to select them all, and I want them to be evenly spaced. So I'm going to go to Align Layers to Selection, and I am going to use Distribute Layers, and I'm going to distribute their bottom. So now they're equally spaced. Okay? So now they will appear one after the other with the sound. Okay, so that's a very simple example of how this would work. Now, of course, we're going to learn how to do a lot more so we can make things actually wiggle, move, change their orientation, and do all kinds of things. We can make the mouth open and close on this crow. There's just a lot of stuff that you can do, and we will do that when we get in further into more sort of tutorials. But this gives you an idea of how you would start a file. Okay, I'm going to save, and then I'm going to exit.